Hi, everybody. Greg Katz here for the obvious, not so obvious overtime. Well, last week we saw the release of the 2020 schedule, the succession of games in what order. And of course, one of the oddities to that schedule is that the Trojans never play at home 2 weeks in a row. It's one home, one away, one home, one away. But of all the things that caught my eye was probably the most obvious, and that was starting the season off against the University of Alabama in Arlington, Texas. Okay, so let's face it, it's a game that's going to put the Trojans as heavy underdogs. But we knew that. We knew that. We know that there's a lot of situations where the Trojans probably should not be playing Alabama to start the season. But I know what you're thinking. Who scheduled that game? Well, I think the people that schedule the game are no longer in the athletic department. But what's really important about the game is that it really shows you a beginning and end of the Clay Helton era and where we are today. When the Trojans opened with Alabama back in 2016, it was Clay Helton's first game. And I think some of you remember that. Of course, we all remember the Trojans coming out of the tunnel at AT&T Stadium. Uh, some players on all fours barking like dogs. Uh, really something that you'd rather forget. But the bottom line, they were there. Probably caught Clay Helton by surprise. But what didn't catch anyone by surprise was just how badly the Trojans were beaten by Alabama, 52-6. So that was in 2016. Now we're in 2020, getting ready for Alabama again. And the question is, where is the Trojan program, and where has it gone between when the Trojans played Alabama in 2016 and where the Trojans will open the season in 2020? Well, I think in the fifth year of a program, you would hope that the Trojan team that was expected to be on the field come next September against the Crimson Tide was going to be an elite USC team. There's a lot of questions about the 2020 team, not the least of which is, well, how good are they going to be? Now, I think they can have a pretty good record. I think it's possible because when I looked at the schedule, you see that the second game is a home game against mighty New Mexico, which I believe was something like 2-10 on the season as a first-year head coach. Then they go to Stanford for the annual. Let's open the Pac-12 season with Stanford, but then again, we don't know what kind of Stanford team it's going to be because that team is going to bounce back. But the key to me was just asking myself, wow, from 2016 to 2020, look where we're at. The turmoil in the program, the turmoil at coaching. The only people that didn't want Clay Helton out was apparently USC President Carol Folt, uh, and athletic director Michael Bone. Now, I'm not going to blame both of them for the moment. I think we've already gone through that thing over and over again until it's kind of beaten dead. But the point is has there been progress made from 2016 to 2020? And when you ask yourself that question in the last 2 years, the Trojans are basically a 500 team. They lost last two bowl games they played in the last 3 years. So, that's a lot of compelling evidence to where this particular 5-year cycle is. So it doesn't really make any difference because the Crimson Tide, even though they've lost some players, have a truckload of NFL players coming back. And it's going to be, well, if SC can shock the world on national television, you're going to have to hand it to Clay Helton and his staff and the group of players if they can actually do it. All right. This is Greg Katz with the NSO Overtime, and we will talk with you soon.